your ball in the trees and then you lip out the putt. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us, 'cause now you're listening to The Rough Cut.
Hello and welcome down to another episode of the Rough Cut Golf Podcast, where you join us in sunny Manchester, but not for very long, because you and I are about to jet off on a magical mystery tour over to Pinehurst, where we're going to be talking to Rick Sessinghaus, and he is Colin Morikawa's performance coach. And if you've been listening or watching or staying tuned to the golf events over the past 24 hours, you will know that Colin Morikawa has won at Pebble Beach. So we're going to be delving into that. First of all, big shout out to our members. We have a membership open on this YouTube channel, which you can go down and click a link and find out more about it if you want. If you have joined as a member so far, thank you very much. It is very appreciated.
Your names are
scrolling right now.
Down there somewhere, yeah.
And we have that many, they're going to be scrolling
forever.
For days.
Yeah.
Should just loop them.
Just change the letter.
Yeah.
Just change the first name, maybe.
Yeah. All 71 members are going to take an hour and 20 minutes.
Or you just have the first name and then just plus 70.
By the time people are watching this, it might have been up to 100 at this point. Also, if you are listening to this via your favorite podcast provider and you don't generally go on YouTube, that's fine. You can just carry on listening to us. But we do have extra features on the YouTube channel, extra videos if you did want to watch as part of the memberships. However, let's talk about our good friends at NordVPN, first of all, the sponsors of this podcast, who have been supporting us for the past pretty much 12 months now. We all use NordVPN, and if you don't know what a VPN is or you haven't downloaded one yet, Jacob is going to explain exactly why you should in 30 seconds.
30 seconds? Wow, you got me on the clock here. I mean, one of the biggest things for me is I love to watch sport. My favourite thing to do, I'll watch it all the time. And I would hate the fact that me getting on a plane and going exploring the world would stop me from watching all the events that I want to watch. One of the big things at the moment is the Winter Olympics. Are you trying to time this?
Yeah.
One of the big things.
Taking me 30 seconds to find the clock.
Fair enough. One of the biggest things at the moment is the Winter
Olympics.
Olympics.
Oldest man thing I've ever seen in my life. Carry on.
Thank you. Winter Olympics. If you're going to be travelling away, if you want to see GB winning more than 3 gold medals at this current moment in time, I would have hate for anyone to have missed the mixed skeleton event from last night. It was absolutely sensational. But it's not just that. It's super cheap. Super cheap. It's the classic thing. Cup of coffee a month is basically how much it costs to do. And we have a lovely, delicious little deal for you.
We do. So if you are in the market for a VPN, get the best one, Nord. However, also, if you already have a VPN, get rid of that one and get Nord, because Nord's the best. If you go to nordvpn.com/roughcut and you buy a 2-year plan, you're going to get 4 months for free. 4 months of free safety online, protection of your data, ease of use, cheaper flights, accessing your content. All of those things you're going to get if you go to nordvpn.com/roughcut. Just for you lot. Go and do it. They're the best. All of the stuff's in the description that you need. Thanks so much to Nord for sponsoring the podcast. We love you, and we think you would love them as well. So go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Perfect.
Shall we talk a little bit about Colin Morikawa before we get to Rick?
Yes, he is a man.
He is a golfing man.
So... First of all, I just want to speak about the absolute amazing timing of this. So,
thank you, Colin.
We spoke to, again, the YouTube bump. The podcast
literally.
bump is a real thing.
Does it count if you haven't released the video
so,
yet?
Yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah.
Okay.
So back in the day, we spoke about this very briefly in the members video. We used to film with tour pros, and pretty much straight after they won an event. Now, in this case, we actually filmed with the coach of a player who's not won in 847 days. And then we were talking at the weekend about, it'd be good if Colin wins this week and we can release this podcast on Tuesday. Well.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, Colin. He has not been playing well for a few years now, a few kind of spurts of good form. But he's just not been. He's not been great, and a lot of the things which have been holding him back seem to have kind of corrected themselves this week, and his biggest strength is obviously his approach play, his iron play. I say, obviously, if you know about Colin, his iron play is absolutely fantastic, and he gained 6.46 strokes on approach, which means he was just able to hit it really close. And at Pebble Beach, if you've not watched our video, by the way, the greens are really small.
I was going to say, and we've just watched you attempt to hit all of the greens, and they are difficult to hit.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those where if you hit a green, depending on where you are, because there are some slopes on there and they are very quick, but if you hit a green, chances are you're probably not going to be more than 30 foot away from the pin. And if you hit middle of the greens, you're probably not going to be more than 20 foot away from every single pin. So it's a very, very impressive round of golf. And, you know, considering where he was a couple of years ago and considering the hype around him after he kind of went out, he won 2 majors very, very quickly. Yeah. Just kind of died away and kind of didn't really kind of live up to the expectations and the hype. But after our conversation with Rick and after I told him to tell Colin a few things,
passed it on.
Yeah.
He is back.
Did you tell him to switch putters? Was that you?
I must admit. I must admit, do you know when you get like stats and they are sometimes meaningless?
Yeah.
Colin Morikawa switches putter every few weeks. It just so happens that he has won this week.
Because we're not putting anything on it then, no?
No. The fact he stole it from a fellow pro is quite
That's
good.
more of a story.
Yeah, so proven in the fact that he actually was, during that final round when he won, he was actually losing strokes on the greens. So he was giving strokes back to the field, but it didn't matter because the rest of his game was so flaming good.
Yeah, but he did gain strokes on the final round. I saw him hold a few good putts as well. So it's one of them where sometimes you pick up a club, especially putters are the best for this, but you pick up a putter, you have a few putts, like, oh, this is it. This is the one. This is and you have this little honeymoon period. Like Colin has 12 honeymoons a year. So
it must be really nice.
Great, yeah. So, I'm not going to read too much into that. But, I mean, he's obviously kind of made his way back. Like I said, not been in great form. And the interview that we had with Rick was really interesting. It was over at Pinehurst at the Golf Pride kind of HQ, where we filmed loads of videos for Golf Pride as well. And we talk pretty in-depth about kind of Colin, but also tour coaching and, how you can kind of use Rick to, get the knowledge to improve your own game as well. You're going to be hearing a lot about flow code. Great name.
What the heck is that?
Flow code is about basically getting yourself in the right mental state to play your best golf.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Flow code. It's a great name.
It's a good name. It's
a really great name.
It rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Flow code.
It just, you can almost imagine what it is. Flow code.
It's a code that like just keeps you
in the flow.
Yeah. Did you talk any about your own game? About
Yeah. No, I plumbed the depths of his enormous brain to try and help myself as well. Obviously, Christmas has been in between that, so I had just an excessive amount of alcohol. So I have forgotten
most of
it. So hopefully,
I thought you were going to give a disclaimer on your appearance or something like.
Hopefully,
things have changed.
I looked very different.
Hopefully, watching it back and listening it back, I'll be able to gain those insights again.
Yeah,
which is going to be great.
Yeah, I've had a quick scroll through it. There is some really good, interesting stuff in there. He seems very knowledgeable. Seems also like a really nice guy, like a really cool dude as well.
Yeah, no, just a great guy. The only thing he was struggling with was when we were doing the filming for Golf Pride. It was freezing, and he lives in California. And I don't think he leaves that often. So we came over to Pinehurst with what I could only describe as very warm weather clothing. And he was struggling. But we both were. My God.
Yeah. And this the same trip in which you discovered your shoulder ailment?
Discovered my shoulder. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you hurt your shoulder.
Weird way of saying you hurt your shoulder.
Yeah.
That's like a Victorian would say it. You've discovered your shoulder ailment, sir. Yeah.
Like it's an achievement.
Right, let's delve into Rick.
So when we start with any player, right, we want to know what are their goals, what are their motivation, do they even have a plan for improvement, right? So many golfers say, I want to get better this season, and they have no plan.
Yeah.
So, you are a good player, and if you look at now the next season for you, what are some of the goals that you have that would be more like outcome based? It could be scoring, could be your handicap index. Maybe you want to win a tournament. Is there anything that we can kind of measure that we can put out there?
Yeah, I mean, I managed to achieve one of my kind of biggest goals, I suppose, this year was getting through kind of first stage open qualifying, which has been a massive mental block for literally years. So managed to get through that, really, really happy. So for next year, I'm going to be doing open qualifying, but also doing US Open qualifying.
Great.
So first goals there is to try and get through those, again, first stages, then before we tackle final. There's tournaments back at home that I really want to win, which are multi-day events, which I've always done okay in, and I played quite well this year. Great first rounds, great openings, and then kind of faded away and kind of packed my pants a little bit. So that's kind of a goal tournament-wise. And then finally, I've got some kind of more tour-based invites as well. So I really want to make the cut through those as well. So I've got some big overarching playing goals, which is good. It's exciting to be able to kind of go for them.
No, and that part, it motivates us, right? We're looking forward to something, and all golfers, hopefully you have something that motivates you, whether it's a club championship or you're playing in your first member guest, or maybe you do have aspirations to play higher at higher levels. Yeah. And the next question I have for you is more about performance. Is in order to achieve those, what parts of your game need to improve? Now, at your level, it might be 0.1 strokes in short game, 0.1 strokes in greens and regulation or something like that. What are some of the priorities for you as it relates to your performance goals?
Purely on a technical basis, my big goal really for next year is approach play and wedges. I'm normally okay around the greens, like getting up and down chipping, but pitching and iron play, I'm not getting myself near enough to the hole to convert as many birdies as I need to.
Got it.
And the stats kind of really show that, and they've shown that for the last few years. Yeah. So that is my main kind of performance goal, and I'm going through I'm going through a lot of technical changes to try and make that kind of come to fruition. Sure. So, I mean, the lessons and the practice that I'm doing, I'm definitely upping that, in a hope that I can change what my stats say.
Right.
And if I can change what my stats say, I'm hoping that will then lead into achieving the goals that I want to.
Definitely. I think most golfers, they generally say, I need to be better at putting or better, but I don't think they have any metrics, right? I know you use stats and you really get an idea of what is the reality.
Yeah.
The reality check.
And it's game changing. It's game changing. It's difficult, I think, with a lot of guys kind of watching this, where keeping stats, you have to be consistent with it, and a lot of people might just like have one chance to play at the weekend and they just want to go out and enjoy themselves. You know, their goal might just be to break 100 or break 90 or something like that. But keeping stats makes it so much easier to actually understand where the issues are.
Exactly. And then once you have that plan in place, is that a performance goal might be to, hit 60% of your fairways and you've only been hitting 50%, or greens in regulation, you're going to hit 8 instead of 6. But to your point now is when we have identified, and approach shot is crucial, we know, what are we going to do to improve that? And I look at everything from technique, which we'll talk about, to how somebody practices, to even how somebody makes decisions about club choice and target lines and stuff like that could affect how many greens you hit, right? And so you mentioned technique, and a lot of people are obsessed with they got to change their swings, but what specifically are you changing to bring that dispersion closer?
So, in all, like dispersion wise, I'm actually not too bad. It's strike, actually getting pressure on the ball with my irons. Yeah,
okay.
And like technically, I've had a few things within my swing which have been there for a few years really, and I've improved them bits, but then it kind of comes back and it goes away. And like this winter, I'm very much just focused on trying to get it as nailed as possible. And that's where like all my kind of technical practice comes in, and it's like backswing changes and then kind of impact changes.
Got it.
So there's a lot to kind of get through in a short space of time, because as soon as like my first comp's the end of Feb, so as soon as it gets to that point, I want to be done with like technique. I want to be focused on the actual.
So in order to change the mechanics, you're going to have to put conscious effort in it. It sounds like you already have a game plan with, again, backswing and downswing. And again, a lot of players out there, they kind of know what they want, but they honestly don't know the cause and effect. And then they really don't know how to make the change. And then to do enough repetitions to make the change, so it is now unconscious when you go play. Is there any key things when you are practicing that is helpful for you and would be helpful for people who are watching out there, how to make those changes? Because you're already a really good player and you're trying to finite, right?
Yeah, I think certainly for me, I'm relatively lucky where I have kind of a studio where I can hit. I've got data, I've got launch monitors, I've got cameras, so I can have real instant feedback as far as like what I'm feeling to what's happening in reality. And you know, people might not have access to the same setup that I do, but pretty much everyone now has a phone. You can get a tripod for a couple of quid. Yeah. You can get those things set up. And certainly when I was coaching and kind of what I'm doing now in practice, I'm trying really hard not just to kind of hit those, just go and hit balls. Sure. I'm trying to assess the success of the shots to actually show me if I'm performing how I want to.
Exactly.
So when I'm going to practice at the moment, I've got little games that I play on the sim. It's really good because I can just put a course on there, so I can actually simulate a little bit more about, you know, real life situation. And then I can say, well, this feels great. I can check the cameras, it looks great, but then what's the actual result and what's coming out? Correct. And then I can assess and I can kind of reevaluate where I'm at with it. And I'm just trying to make a much more of a conscious effort to do that and not just hit balls, hit balls, hit balls.
So it requires focus, then it requires feedback and then adjustment and then feedback and adjustment, instead of I'm going to, you know, this didn't work, I'm going to try 5 different things. And then at the end of the hour, you haven't achieved anything other than more confusion. I
think feedback for me, feedback is key, and it's also something which is easy to not do when you go to a driving range. Because I think if you manage to carve out the time, and let's say you don't have a lot of time, you know you need to practice to get better to achieve those goals, and you get to the range, I think many golfers feel at that point, well, I'm working and I'm doing what I need to. Whereas in fact, you might go to a range session, spend an hour and a half bashing balls and not really change anything, not improve, and then be confused about when you're on the golf course, why things aren't getting better.
Correct. So you know, when we make these mechanical changes, of course, in hopes to make better contact, hit more greens, get it closer, more scoring opportunities. I'm obsessed with the mental side of the game, right? Is we work on our technique and can we now carry it out there? Yeah. When you think about all the tournaments you've played in and such, how much of the mental game do you think comes into play of your performance?
This year has been like a revelation, really, as far as like mental game goes, because I always knew that it was a weakness, but again, it's kind of like having those tools. Like what do I need to do? Right. And fortunately, like with the videos that I make, I do get access to really good coaches. Obviously, like speaking to you today, this is not something that a lot of people will have the opportunity to do. Right. So I've got the ability to pick the brains of some of the best in the world. And this year, it really became apparent that setting the goals was good, but I was so focused on the actual outcome of everything that I was forgetting to go through the process and then trust that that was going to work and really trying to force through what I wanted. So I was putting such a massive high level of expectation on myself that when I came to the comp, I was so nervous, I was like anxious, I wasn't enjoying being there. Right. So this year has been a big switch of just simply having a goal, working towards it, but then when I'm at an event, just trying to let it happen and not putting a big expectation on myself when I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, that's crucial, as you know, and I think even average players, they expect, I expect to break 85, I expect, and they have these expectations, and yet they don't have the processes that would help support them achieving that. So we want to prepare and stuff. I always ask people about what is the mental game that we're training in the first place. So how would you kind of define those skills? What is the mental game that we're actually training?
It's a tough question, isn't it?
It is. That's why people say, oh, it's important. But when I ask people if they train it, the answer is usually no. Yeah. Because they're not actually quite clear what it is. What are we actually training?
Or how to practice.
Exactly.
Like how to practice. And I also think that it's potentially the hardest thing to practice because it's easy. It's easy to go to a range and hit balls. It's an easy thing to do. Right. But to think about what you're doing and to try and understand how you go about the mental game, because for me, the mental game really boils down to understanding how you're thinking and to recognize certain aspects that are going to be detrimental. There's so many things that people do on the golf course that I do on the golf course still, and I'm getting better at it, that I catch myself. And I'm like, oh God, what, like why have you just gone down that kind of rabbit hole? And you're there before you know it.
Totally.
And I think that's for me is the first step, is just being able to recognize when something's going wrong.
Yes.
That's the biggest kind of crucial thing for me. I've even forgot what the question was now. Right?
Well, no, I mean, I think...
I went down a rabbit hole there.
No, but you said about thinking, which is like when I look at what is the mental game, and we get thinking, we get emotions, regulating our emotions, confidence, right? Those are some different aspects. And I look at it as performance is state dependent. What state are you in when you're swinging a golf club?
Yeah.
Am I in one of distracted, doubt, tension, anxiety? Good luck.
Yesterday was horror.
Or horse.
Pure, unadulterated horror.
And then there's days when we're focused and confident and calm and confident, right? And we're like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
Right. See, to me, that's a trainable skill.
Yeah.
But most people, they'll get into the state after they're playing a few holes. Like they've got it. Oh, I feel great. Or I don't have it today. Right. And they're fluctuating. You mentioned thinking. So to me, it does start with thought patterns of what am I focusing on in that moment. And part of the process is, and I know we're going to cover this more in detail, is what should that pre-shot routine look like? How am I going to gather information? What should I be focusing on? How do I make proper decisions based on your skill sets? Not on what Rory's hitting, what are you hitting, right? And then do you know, I call it like a threat versus challenge. Do you look at the shot as a threat, like, oh no, I hate this shot, right? And that puts us in a stress response, or a challenge, like, man, I can't wait to hit this shot.
Yeah.
Take on that opportunity, right?
Opportunity is the word that I've been trying to use so much more this year, because that's the thing. You're in certain situations where you're like, oh, this isn't good. This can't be good. And I was playing a match the other day, and I was in a terrible, completely short-sided, no chance of really getting up and down. And I was going over to it, cameras were on. I was like, this is just not going to be, this is going to be a disaster. But then I was like, you know what? No, this is just a really good opportunity to play a fantastic shot. Yes. And automatically just thinking more like that allowed me to see what I had to do easier. Yes. So rather than like looking at what could go wrong, I was like, well, how could it go right? Yes. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do, because I think most people, most golfers definitely, they're prone to think into that negative mindset 100%. Rather than the positive mindset.
Right. But you caught yourself that this isn't good, and then you went now to solution though. Most people stay in the problem.
Yeah.
And then you said, well, there's still a solution to this, and we shift a mindset, right? How do we view it? So yes, it's what we're thinking about, but how we're thinking about it changes our emotions.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah,
and our emotions are both before and after, and you shifted it like almost, let's take this challenge on, or maybe there's a competitive side of you, and your focus actually gets strengthened in a good way, right? The other part of this is what emotional state are you at when you play your best golf? And not many people know that or think about that. And they go, I don't know, happy? And I go, well, is it really happy? Is it something else? I mean, when you're playing your best, how would you articulate that to somebody? I feel blank, or
Yeah, it's more probably peaceful. There was the comp this year where PJ champs, not the PJ champs, but the PJ champs. Doesn't make a lot of sense. PJ as in the Great Britain Island, PJ. Cool, thanks for watching. And in the third round there, made the cut, kind of scraped through. Shot a 65, I think, in the third round. And it was just an incredibly good back nine, but I felt inevitable is the word I was like thinking.
How cool.
I was like getting on a few holes and I was like, I'm going to birdie this hole. And it just felt like I know that I'm going to birdie it. And I just felt it was so relaxing.
Awesome.
It was just like, but it's a hard kind of state, I suppose, to get into. And it's like, I know a lot of work that you do, and guys who work on the psychological side of golf to try and access that state. Right. I think in my mind, and again, I'm trying to change it a lot, would be I have to play good golf to then get into that state, rather than trying to figure out ways to get into that state before I play golf.
100%.
And it's like trying to flip that around a little bit.
Yeah, I always look at, if I can identify the optimal state for you and reverse engineer from that, to me as a performance coach, that's helpful, right?
Yeah.
A golf swing, let's say you want to hit a tight draw and you know what it's going to take with your TrackMan numbers to do that there's a cause and effect. I believe the same thing with the mental game. So if peaceful is that word, and for people listening, watching, maybe you have a different word. My word's engaged. I feel engaged, right? Some players that I work with feel calm, creative, excited, happy, right? These are different emotional states. But if peaceful is something that you have gotten into, I would ask, when we talk about processes all the time, do you have a process to get peaceful?
Not really.
And that's what we want to do,
Not
right?
really. And this is what I thought after that round. I was like, how have I just got to that point? And again, it was more, I don't really know. I don't really understand. I think I might hold like a nice putt, and I think it probably felt quite nice. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm good. I could do this today.
Right.
And then the very next round, it wasn't the same.
We'll have to talk about that in a second.
It was full on war rather than peace.
Right, but notice that. I mean, and all golfers have experienced that, right?
Yeah.
One day we feel like we're hitting the ball great, we're never gonna lose it, and the other day we feel like we've never played golf before, right? And I think back to, like, when we talk about processes all the time, is like, yes, we want to have a better process and pre-shot routine, all these things we're told, but I don't even think people are asking the right questions within that. What is that process supposed to do? And part of it is to be peaceful, to be committed, to be confident, and if in that routine it's not achieving that, then we may have to work on a new routine.
Yeah.
Okay. So peaceful is an interesting one because it's a lower intensity emotion.
Yeah.
And some of that can be done through breath work. Some of it can be just how we view it. Was there anything that, again, that last part of that round, what does peaceful feel like in your body?
It's not, that's the thing, I wouldn't say it's relaxed, but it's more just ready for what's happening. Like,
totally.
It's just ready for the task. Being confident and being kind of alert and energized to do what you want to.
Yes.
But in a way which isn't, it's not fist pumping or anything like that. It's just kind of knowing that it's going to happen.
Yes.
And it's kind of weird. It was weird. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. But even at the time, I was able to get out my own way, and I was able to let it happen. But even at the time, I was like, "Oh, this is great. How am I doing it? I don't know. I don't understand. But I'm going to let it happen. I'm just going to get out my own way."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I call that flow state, like optimal experience. We feel our best, we perform our best, we're focused, we're confident, we're calm, we're in control.
Yeah.
Right? And this game can kick us out of being out of control pretty quickly. So kind of dialing back to, like all players, we want to get better. We have outcome goals, we have performance goals. We're now talking a little bit about process goals as it relates to the mental side. Is there anything, when you think processes, that the average player needs to improve upon?
This year, again, I'm going to sound like a kind of crazy person. I've said to myself, like, throughout comps this year and kind of throughout the videos that we've done, and it has helped definitely people who've watched the videos, is like about trusting the process.
Yes.
So in some respects, and this is where you're going to be able to, tell me what I've been doing wrong and like what guys are doing wrong at home. But for me, the process is important, but for me, the process was more about just doing it consistently.
Yes.
So there's stuff in there which I know it's not perfect, and there's definitely things I can improve upon. But I was definitely playing my best golf when I was like, you know what, this is what my process is, and I'm just going to stick to it. And it allowed me to be a bit more present.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's always been the hardest thing for me.
Sure.
I was reading and I talking to golfers as well, like the amount of time that, certainly within your own brain, you spend most of the time thinking about things which have happened or thinking about things which are about to happen.
Totally.
So you only actually exist in the present in a really small window. And often that window when you're on the golf course can close, and it's really hard to be there.
Correct.
And that was it was a big revelation about, like, if you do get into a process and you understand and you try and figure out how to play shots, like that chip I hit the other day, I was there, and I was kind of
Yes.
I was trying to figure it all out, and it was good.
Right.
But it's hard. God, it's so
No,
hard.
it's hard. I mean, think about it. Life being in the present moment is, you know, we always say one shot at a time and all these cliches, but there's truth to that. How do I train myself to be here right now instead of, I'm still thinking about the 3-putt I hit 2 holes ago. I can't believe I did that, Rick. And then, oh, there's a reachable par 5 coming up that I can get there in 2. And I wonder where everybody else is in the tournament. It's like, it's irrelevant to this moment.
Yeah.
And I think the best of the best find ways to filter that out. And then for those 30 or 45 seconds in that process to be able to go, I'm here right now. I'm solving this problem. I can't wait to hit the shot. And I think there's many things that can funnel that attention. And part of it is like breath work and visualization and centering techniques and practice swings. When you think about your best routine, because I think each processes could be different depending on the player.
Yeah.
Do you use any kind of tools and techniques like breathing or visualization or practice swings that would help you stay in that present moment?
Breath work, no.
Okay.
It's something I've thought about, and it's something that I've looked at and I've talked to people about, and I don't really know what to do apart from breathing deeply. I mean, yeah, all right, but I don't really know, like, because when I started to go into it, I got a little bit lost. You know, I didn't really think about there's different ways to breathe and
Definitely.
like different types of breathing and how it kind of changes your kind of mental state. But I don't really know about that. So the way I kind of got into things, the process wise, was I used to just tap my club on the ground, and I'd gone through my routine as far as like what I wanted to hit, the shot, conditions, wind, yardage, things like that. But at the point I'm hitting my shot, I'm just like, I'm tapping my club on the ground to try and bring myself back to the present.
Okay.
And when I wasn't able to do it, I was just like an absolute psychopath, just pounding the ground before the ball.
We gotta check on Pete.
like-
He's made some
It's like
divots over there.
tapping it. Worms within a 3-mile radius are all coming up. Think it's raining. So that's the way I was trying to like pull myself into the present.
Yeah.
And that's just something I found that was kind of working for me.
Right.
But again, if that's useful, I don't know.
No, it can be useful, but I look at there's many different things that can bring your attention to the present moment. I'm looking at, and the average player out there, they're not even present when they're making decisions on their club choice, by the way. So I start, how do I get in the present moment when I step out of the cart or when I put my bag down? To me, that's the start of, let's be here.
Yeah.
Right? And I know we're going to do some content on pre-shot routines on that. But being in the present moment, to me, it can be what we call cognitive. What am I thinking about right now? If you had a caddy and say, hey, I'm the caddy, go, hey, Pete, we got wind off the left, and there's a carry 142 over that left bunker. I'm looking at it, I'm processing it, I'm telling you information. You go, oh yeah, there is wind off the left. You'd be in the present moment, right? So there's cognitive things that we can do through questions and self-talk and processing information, right? The other one, like we talked about breath work, is if I had somebody just inhale through their nose at a 3 count, exhale through their mouth at a 3 count, at least for those 6 seconds, they are present within the breath.
Yeah.
And there's different ratios, which we're not going to get too much into this, but if I'm just focusing on breath, I'm not focusing on the 3-putt I just had. I'm not, right? I'm giving myself a timeout to say, where am I right now? And then, visualization, which I want to go a little bit deeper with you, is, seeing success before it happens is great. Most people are visualizing what they don't want, so they have a lot of conflict in their brain. I don't want to go here, I kind of want to go here, I'm not sure. And there's a lot, and then we have tactile, right? We talk about feel, right? Well, we've got the grip, right? The feel of the grip. And do you do a practice swing to feel the shot you're going to hit beforehand? You're getting in the present moment. So the tactile part, the feeling part, there's a lot of things we can tap into, even auditory, like smooth swing, fluid swing, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to, these are all things that can bring us to the present moment, but most people aren't aware enough that they're distracted and then it's too late.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you think about, I would like to talk a little about visualization. Do you use visualization at all in your processes?
Yes, but it's not a strength. It's like when I start to visualize and try and see shots, I can do it to an extent, but I almost don't know, and I think a lot of people probably understand this, like
visualizing a shot, it's like how do you visualize that, and how do you actually see the ball going? And for a while, because certainly when I was editing a lot more of my videos and I was doing like shot tracer stuff, I was trying to use that a bit more. So I was behind the ball and I was trying to see like shot tracers, but became probably a little bit dispirited when it wasn't working. Those shot tracers were broken.
So it's not you. Come on. It's
So then I went away from that, and probably just more of it's a little bit vague now, I think. I can get in the present a little bit better, and I'm kind of like, okay, I can kind of see what I want to do, but I'm not in it.
Fair.
Yeah.
When you have like a recovery shot, and I know that happens rare that you miss a fairway and you're in the trees, but
it's very nice of you to say.
Every now and then when that happens, do you find that you can actually visualize better? You got a branch in front of you, you got a bunker over here, that the window helps you?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Okay.
I think if there's most things, if there's like an actual obstacle to overcome, I think it's easier to figure out, because that's, you know better than me, but I often think like if you're faced with just a blank slate, it's a lot harder to think through.
Correct.
Which is probably why, like, if there's a hole that shapes left to right for a right-hander, it's easier to feel and visualize that fade, or draw, kind of vice versa. So I think being able to do that within your mind when there's not something in the way, I think it's difficult.
I agree. It's a blank canvas, and then some people can see shot tracers in different colors. I see just this target bullseye. I have a hard time seeing the entire shot, but bullseye, I'm going to go towards the bullseye, right? And we can, have like American football. We have our goalposts. I could put the goalposts out there on the fairway. I can utilize these different ways to get my mind attended to success, but back to the present moment.
Okay.
Right? You could put obstacles out there.
I like the goalpost analogy. Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
Or your favorite mate, you put them out in the center of the fairway, like you want to pop them through the head, right? That would get your attention, huh?
It would do. I'd miss. But so they're safe.
Maybe it's not your best mate, maybe it's your enemy, right? Okay. And then the present moment, like also feel. Do you use practice swings in your routine to feel a shot?
It gets sloppy though. It does get sloppy, because I find, again, a lot of people probably like this. There's way too often where I'm over the ball and I'm like not 100% sure what I'm doing. But how often do you step away from a shot?
Right.
It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
So actually practice swings, I don't really utilize them probably the best I could. I take a couple of waggles and a few slaps, but.
So, and again, everybody's different. Like some people are just very visual, especially with putting. We have a lot of people with routines that don't even do a practice motion.
I don't do a practice swing.
Right? But I would hope you're seeing the ball go in the hole.
Yeah, with putting, I'm trying to be, and this is probably something you do with your guys a lot, I'm imagining. With putting, I find it so much easier to be reactive. To like have a read,
right?
Try and see where the ball's going. I visualize like where it's a point where it's going to go over when it's just off the putter face, and then how it's going to react from there, and try and see it. And certainly this year, I was starting to see putts so much better, starting to see lines, and it was kind of like a weird point a few months ago in the States where I just had a round where I hold everything. But again, I could see everything.
Right.
I was like, I'm going to hold everything.
Yeah.
Just like that feeling of being inevitable and peaceful there. So I just feel it's a lot easier with my putting to like see that, get behind the ball and go.
Sure.
I find it's so hard to do in full shots though.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, is that putting tends to be just two-dimensional, right? There's no trajectory and stuff like that. Yes, you have slope on it, but the ball's hopefully not getting off the ground. And then when somebody says, yeah, I can actually visualize that, or I have people putt in the morning on the morning dew, right? And they can now see that, or we put gates out there, right? To get that idea. And then I take it a step further of chipping. Could you chip and visualize? They go, well, yeah, I can kind of see the ball up in the air, right? And then I can extract from there as way. But when we talk about the processes and we want our main goal to be in the present moment, we've just talked about there's different ways we can do that. But and you're a really good player and you're still trying to find what process works best for you, right? I think the average player has not much of a process at all. And because they're so focused on what they don't want, and they look at the shot as a threat, and then they get stressed and they get tight, and then they hit a poor shot, and then they blame their swing, but they weren't in the right state to begin with.
Yeah.
Right. So when we talk about these now process goals, right? We've talked about your outcome goals, performance goals, process goals. What I'm hearing from you is to keep refining those routines for you to be a little more peaceful, a little bit more. I was also hearing kind of the word trusting coming in there, like I trust myself. To me, that is a skill.
Yeah.
Most people think the mental game is just, I'll be that if I play well.
Exactly.
So, no. We want to be in the state to give ourselves the best opportunity to play well. One other area I want to talk about is I call them flow blockers or interferences. For you, what interferes with you getting into that peaceful state, that trusting state?
Definitely kind of anxiety and being anxious.
Yeah.
It's always been an issue, like in competitions. Again, this year it's been better. I've tried to figure out a few things, but it's always the nerves and the anxiety of like hitting certain shots and certainly in like bigger comps and stuff.
Sure.
Which is wild, and I have been better this year, and I've been trying to like tell myself that it's very much just, it is a mental state. Like there's nothing that can happen here. Like you're not fighting for life and death out here on the 14th. But for whatever reason, my brain's just like, feels like it's on fire at times. But I think I've managed to settle that down. But that's always been the biggest obstacle for me.
So to me, anxiety is about future driven, about what could go wrong. Yeah. Right. So 100%. We have a threat like, I don't want to play poorly. I don't want to do this wrong. And we mentioned a little bit earlier, but instead of looking at it as a threat, we look at it as a challenge or opportunity, right? We step up to that. And it's interesting that our mind will race and then it'll create an emotional response. I ask players all the time, is being nervous good or bad for golf?
I would say it's good, but that's me thinking that because I know that if I don't think that, it's going to be it's going to be bad. So it would be, I think it's just, for me, it's accepting it.
Yes.
So in an absolutely ideal world, wouldn't it be nervous, be able to just go out there and, just play carefree and it'd be great.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you're going to be nervous and you have to be willing to accept that.
Yes.
And that's what I've tried to do. Right. And that's what I try and kind of teach people to do as well. Yeah. If they ever kind of ask the question, is the fact is you're going to get nervous, so you've got a choice of, you can use it or you can let it drag you down.
Yeah, nervous is an interesting one, and you said the key thing, it's your interpretation of it. My body, my heart racing, my stomach churning a little bit, how am I going to define that? And I can define it, nervousness, as, oh no, don't mess up, anxiety, which now fear kicks in, or all the same things happening, I'm excited. This is cool, I signed up for this, I can't wait to hit the shot. Now, the physiological system is similar, but now your mind is interpreting it a different way, and then you can use it to help you focus. But the other way is completely going to make us go sideways.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's back to mindset, and being aware that you're nervous is fine. But now how are you going to funnel it is going to be important, because a lot of people say, well, you need a lot of experience and then you won't be nervous. I said, yeah, but if you keep hitting poor shots when you're nervous, what are you really learning, right? But if I learn that I can now, instead of being fearful, I could take it on as a challenge, I can do some smooth breathing, I can visualize success, you're at least moving in the right direction as you go, and then you have something to now work on as you go. We talk a little bit about feel a lot, right? And feel is crucial, right? And obviously we're here at Golf Pride, and it starts with feel, doesn't it? How do you define feel? I know it's kind of a...
Yeah, I mean, you just, for me, certainly in the past, it's just hands.
Yes.
Feel, you automatically interpret that as what you're feeling kind of within your hands. And if it feels good in your hands and it feels like you can play a shot, then it will breed confidence.
Yes.
When, in fact, feel is probably a lot more overarching than that. It probably starts from the brain down to the hands rather than the hands to the brain, or somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it could be, right?
Yeah.
And so when you put your hands on that club, you're getting sensory, right? You're getting that feedback. Your brain can now go, does that feel good or bad, right? You can give it very general terms, good or bad. And So when somebody can hit a lot of different golf shots like you can, feel is crucial, right? You want to hit a cut, you want to hit a low draw, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm assuming a lot of it's with the hands, correct?
Yeah.
And so now when you're feeling it, and if it's not feeling good, what do you do about that?
Panic.
Panic. Okay, that's one choice, everybody. We do have other options
Run
here.
in. Call my mum, maybe.
So that is true. But if we get lost in that, right, it's not going to go good, is it? Right? We can choose a different shot.
Yeah.
We can work through it. Go, well, that didn't feel good. Well, maybe I'll open the face a little bit more. Maybe I'll cut across it more. Is look at some other options. But I even want to spin it back further. It's like I can have the greatest option, and I know this is the right shot, but I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Now we have some mental processes, right?
Yeah. I would say that when that happens, and I think a lot of people do this as well, is if it doesn't quite feel right and not quite comfortable, I would then kind of automatically revert back to technique and to think, well, I'm not feeling this, but then, if I want to draw it, okay, well, if I start to take it more back around the inside, I can start to feel like the club a little bit more behind me.
Sure.
If I kind of pronate my right elbow, whatever. And I think once I start to get down that slope, then it's really hard to pull it back.
Got it.
Because the worst thing I can do then is if I'm not feeling comfortable, I think about something technical and hit a good shot. That's almost the worst thing for me, because now I'm like, okay, well, I now know I need to turn my right shoulder a little bit more. And then when I hit a bad shot again, I'm going, well, I'm turning my right shoulder back, okay, so what else must it be? Oh, I think I need to lift my left heel a little bit more.
Right.
And then I might hit a good shot then, and before I know it, I'm 12 holes in, I've got 64 swing thoughts. And all semblance of feel has left.
You're exactly right. We can become analytical, and instead of being in my body and being hand-eye coordination. Let's think about it. Hand-eye coordination, boom, to your target, and it all starts in the hands and with the grip. I'm fascinated with all these different types of grips, right? Now you've experimented enough, and what's the importance of the grip itself? I mean, the actual grip for you.
I think it depends on if you have a technical goal in mind, for me. So I've just changed my grips now to the Z, and that's very much because it's got an align on the back of it. Now, that I've been using a putter grip, and I've switched to the Pro Only in the blue. And what it does, it has a ridge on the back, and for whatever reason, that ridge, to me, it feels like it's easier to square a club face up.
Great.
And again, that's just through experimentation and trying it out, and that feels best to me. But I've always used a Tour Velvet.
Right.
That's what I've always used.
Yes.
And this is the first time where I've been like, you know what can I change? What actually will the grip do for me? And what will it alter within my technique? And it's kind of been a bit of a long time coming, I'd say. Because I think most people, when they think of a grip, they would think of it as a handle, and the actual technique, the actual kind of technical specifications of a golf club, they're from the shaft downwards. The grip is just something that you hold on to, when it's your only link to the club, so it has to have a level of importance.
Yes.
And that's what I've been kind of really experimenting with.
And I work with obviously tour players to competitive players, and when I used to coach a lot of, let's say, intermediate players, like the Align grip, for instance, it would be so helpful for that average player for consistency to know, oh yeah, my fingers go like this because I can feel that. One less thing to think about, but the consistency factor that my hands are going to be in the same place every single time, I think is crucial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so back to feel, and okay, now I know my hands are there. I can trust that. And then there's the other types, and I was feeling some of the different materials.
Yeah.
Talk about feel, right? I grew up cord grips, and then Tour Velvet, and I saw some of the new compounds. I'm going, oh, this is kind of cool, right? Have you experimented a little bit with kind of the different the textures and?
Yeah, I mean, for a few years ago, I switched over to it's a very, very massive kind of grip, Bryson's grips, basically. So I had some issues with my wrists, and I'd heard through the grapevine that apparently really thick grips helped with that. So I did it, and my wrists kind of settled down. It was good, and I don't know if it's just a coincidence. That's the thing, because there's no real data. It's very hard to tell. But then as soon as I switch back to like my standard kind of Tour Velvet, which I just like the feel of and I'm comfortable with it, then I started to improve straight away, and my kind of wrist issues haven't come back. And this is the first time actually experimenting with something a little bit different with the Align on the back. And like I said, it feels right. It feels good. It's not too soft, it's not too firm, just like in the back of the hand, I can feel it in my right finger. It's just like, yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
But notice how like detailed you were on that, right? You feel it here, feel it in the finger, and not many people are even paying attention to that at all. And I know I'm getting educated here, being at Golf Pride, with a fitting of the grip, right? Yeah. And the different styles and the different sizes and all those type of things. And I need that, and you need that, and the average player needs it also. So when we look back at feel, we have the physical component of hands-on grip. Okay, you can interpret that. And do you change grip pressure depending on a shot?
Not massively, no. I think maybe if it's a plug bunker lie, I'll grip onto it a little bit more. I will try, if it becomes apparent that I'm choking the life out of it, to lessen my grip pressure. Certainly on putting as well. I almost try and feel, if I'm struggling on the greens a little bit, I'll try and like give up a little bit of control. So I'll grip it light, and I'll try and be a lot more trusting in it. But different grip pressures for different shots is not something I massively experiment with.
Right. Because I have some people, like with the high flop shot, there might be a little bit less tension versus like a bunker shot where I'm plugged or I'm in the rough, and there's just, again, there's the refinement of what am I feeling through that. And I don't think enough people know what to do, right? And as the round goes on, they probably are holding on tighter, and the stress response and a little bit more, and they're trying to control a club. Part when you were telling me about when you're aligned, it seems like when you're comfortable with something, you're controlling it just enough, right? We're not trying to over control anything. Once your hands are on there, do you think in terms of, and I'm going back to processes, of what the hands need to do in the swing to create a shot, or is it more of you feel it other parts of your body? Like if you wanted to hit a high cut, what are you?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I want to like shape it, cut, draw, whatever it is, it's more of the face and the path and how that relates to it. And I will move the club to where I want in my hands, but it'll be kind of subconscious. I won't be.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I won't be like strengthening or weakening the grip. I'll just kind of move it, set it, and then I'll feel kind of where I want the club to go. And then if the face is in the right point, it's going to hook or draw.
And I think having that clear intention, right? You have a clear intention, you want to hit a cut, and then you've done it for so much, is that you trust your subconscious feels that now, I think is important. Now, average player, yes, they want to probably hit one shot halfway decent, right? But I don't think they're connecting enough of why did the ball go where it went. We know club face control is king, and it starts right there, right? And when you experiment with different size grips and different textures of grips, it may affect release patterns. It may affect how we trust the shot, or how much control, right, as we go. So I'm fascinated with that part of how the actual physical grip affects how I feel and how I trust in the process. Yeah, so pressure is interesting, isn't it? Is that it's self-defined. What's pressure for you is different for me than different than the top player on the PGA Tour. And I think for the average player, you are going to feel pressure. But to me, that's a good thing. That means it matters to you. It's important. And we want to use that as a way to focus more. Unfortunately, pressure people, they care more, they try harder, and it gets in the way of that. So I think, when we look at being able to perform under pressure, part of it is preparation, right? Is yes, we've worked on our golf swing, we've practiced, but with the top players, I mean, the amount of time they put into preparation, practice rounds, and even just their body stretching, and afterwards, and going over notes, and talking to caddy, and having a game plan when you go out. Now, I don't expect the average player to do 3 practice rounds and all, but you've probably played your home course enough, but do you actually have a game plan? Do you actually know what club you're going to use off different tees, and what the best spot to aim at, and maybe aim at the middle of the green more than at the hole locations, right? And I think preparation is a key part of that. And it goes along with, we've talked about like a pre-round routine. What can I do to get ready for that event that I may feel pressure, but what am I doing 30 minutes, an hour, some players 2 hours beforehand? I know that's a lot to ask for but even 30 minutes, what can you do? And I know we'll talk more about what that pre-round routine looks like. But for me, it's understanding pressure is going to happen. We're embracing that opportunity to be able to say, good, I signed up for this. Okay, I don't want to be bored out there. This means something. But what are the things that I can do ahead of time? Having a game plan is certainly a part of that. Even the simplest things, understanding how the weather is and are we prepared with the rain and things like that that can creep up. And then we've talked about routine already. It's like, what can be the best pre-shot routine that can help me focus on what's in my control? Because pressure is a lot about thinking about, honestly, things that are out of your control. I wonder how everybody else is playing, and oh no, if I mess up here, and it's a lot of stuff that's out of your control, but the routine is to help us to stay in that moment. And we can do everything from, we've mentioned visualization to breath work. And it's interesting, like with visualization, a lot of people say, I can't visualize. I said, well, you can, but it might not be a key a skill that you have right now.
Absolutely,
So I ask people to verbalize shots before they hit it. So I say, hey, Pete, you got a second shot? He's...
Honestly, this is something which I always say it, but like, certainly if you've done like coaching videos, and when I do done coaching videos and when I talk through shots, the shot that comes out is always so much better. And I really want to, when I'm getting an actual comp, to talk it through, but I just don't want to look like a nutter.
But do you have a caddy during those tournaments?
No, so I'd just be talking to myself.
Well, okay. We can talk internally, right? But I joke with my players. I said, pretend that Coach Rick's on your shoulder. What's Coach Rick saying, and what are you going to say back, right? And to your point is like, I may not have that skill that I can see a shot tracer, but if I said to you, hey, what's a good shot look like here? And you said, well, Rick, I'm hitting a 7-iron, and I'm going to aim it at that tree, and you point at it, and it's going to cut 15 feet back, and it's going to land here. The words are symbols. And so by you talking throughout, you actually created a visualization, whether you knew it or not. And it doesn't have to be this, like I said, shot tracer, but it's an intention. This is what I'm going to do. And I think that's part of it. With visualization, I'll have some people, I've seen Jason Day up close, and he's closing his eyes a lot behind the ball because there's less stimulus. He can now see that, and he opens his eyes and he goes into the shot. So some people can close their eyes to be able to see it. But I think the key part is having an intention with that. And yes, the caddies, I work with a player that is very vocal with his caddy, and they're talking through shots and where's the wind coming from? Okay, is you playing the 167, 163, and the clarity is important. A lot of players under pressure, again, go to what they don't want, and they get into steering and quickness and stuff. And so I think part of that is, again, visualization can help us get focused on what we want. And then the other thing is breath work. Is if I'm feeling my heart pumping, how do I regulate that? I'm not saying get back to relaxed, but we can use different breathing ratios. Usually we'd want to probably inhale, let's say a 3, and exhale like a 6. Longer exhale, right? If I'm anxious, my breathing patterns is short and quick, right? That's only building up your stress level even more, right? But you mentioned like we can take deeper breaths, but smoother rhythmic breaths, a little bit longer exhale will help you at least ground yourself. So we have these things at our disposal, and I think the best players have experimented with them. They have practiced these things well before they even got to the first tee. And I think most people, when we talk about routine, they don't have one, and then you ask them to practice it ahead of time. And so just these little things, right? These little things. And part about, we talked about pre-round routine. When you're at your best, and when you get to that first tee, and you may be energized, you may feel pressure, but you're energized. Have you done anything that hour and a half before that you feel helps you prepare?
Always play my best if I arrive at the golf course like a decent amount of time before my tee time, so hour and a half kind of thing, which isn't always easy. Often means getting up a little bit earlier, but it's always a case that when I get there early, I'm more relaxed. I'm not as rushed.
Yes.
But then also, if I've done my kind of pre-round kind of stretching and my routine, and I feel physically loose and I feel ready, it's such a it's kind of like it's a physical routine, but it has a massive impact on how I feel about things mentally, because I know I've done as much as I can do to prepare. And like what you mentioned before about, you know, having control over yourself and not worrying about other things, like the ability to give up control over those things that you can't control. I often find that's easier to do when I'm there and when I'm prepared.
100%.
And it's kind of, it is difficult. And I know a lot of people kind of watching this, you know, their idea of a pre-round prep is to sprint from the car park, get a bacon sandwich and then go.
Right.
And if you're going out there and that works, wonderful.
Right.
I'm happy for you. But for most people, understanding what they can do just before they go out to play and like correlating that to performance, which again, you need to be able to experiment with that and you need to have the time to say, okay, for this month, I'm going to do this. And then next month, I'm going to add this in or take this away and actually see how that works. It does take time, takes patience as well.
And the best players, they're very regimented. I mean, they've refined it through the years, but I'm going to be at the golf course at this time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to work with my physio. I'm going to get on the range this time, do my putting drills. But it all serves a purpose, right? And I think that's where a lot of people is like we said, 20 minutes. Can you get there 20 minutes ahead of time to stretch, hit 20 golf balls, hit a few drivers of what the first hole is going to be like? Imagine you're hitting the first tee shot today, take some breaths, putt, get some speed control down. And then I always talk about the intention of the mental game is how do you want to show up in that round of golf? And people are like, well, what are you talking about? I go, how do you want to be? You want to be peaceful? Do you want to be engaged? Do you want to be confident? You want to go, well, yeah, that'd be nice. I go, no, but do you have a plan to do that? Maybe you have to take some smooth breaths because your heart's pumping. Maybe you want to say today, you know what? My goal is to commit to every single golf shot out there. My goal is to bounce back after a poor shot. We have an intention of mental game too. I think it then takes away a little bit more from the outcome. Right? We talked about expectations before. It's like, if I'm expecting like, I really got to play well today. I have to play well. That builds up more pressure instead of saying my intention is to play well today. In order to do that, I'm going to control my breathing, my decision-making, my visualization. And you know what? I found this on my warm-ups. If I swing at 80%, I'm going to hit some good golf shots. That's more the controllables as we go there. The best players do that. And the average player is concerned with what they don't want. And then they're certainly concerned about how they're going to look and embarrassment. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get messed up. And it gets further and further away from the present moment of how they're doing it.
Absolutely. Do you think that like with pre-round routine, the regimented kind of style of like knowing timings and what you're going to do and knowing the whole process that you're going to go through, stretching, hitting balls, whatever it is, does that carry through completely into pre-shot routines and what you do on the course? Or is there like a level of flexibility there? Because I know we were talking a little bit about, you know, the situations on golf courses can change, whether it's conditions, weather, whatever. Do you think there's some like core tenets within the pre-shot routine that you need to do? And they need to be consistent, and then some of the things can kind of like change around.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, one quick thing with like pre-round routine is, yes, it's very regimented, but you go course to course, maybe they don't have a short game area to chip at, maybe the driving range is closed that day, maybe there's going to be elements that may change it. But back to pre-shot routine, I think there is overarching ideas of what we want to do. One, we want to be aware of our environment to able to make a decision, right? We got to make a decision, okay? And that is focus, and that is, how's the lie? Where's the wind coming from? But then internally, what's the best solution for that, okay? I'm going to ask you in a moment how you make decisions. Do you make it with your head or with your gut? So I'll ask you there in a second, okay? So when somebody's in a pre-shot routine, they have to gather information. I think nowadays with the luxury of lasers and GPS, people are actually getting lazier in their pre-shot routine. Oh yeah, it's 152. And then they pull out their 8-iron and they're 15 yards short. They go, 150. I go, there's 15 mile an hour wind into you. It's playing up 7. And they go, oh, well, I didn't know about that. No, it's there, but you weren't aware of it, right? So we have to be aware, focus on what's relevant, make a decision based on our skill sets, not try to be heroes, right? So that's going to be a key part of the pre-shot routine. It's thinking. Then we go from thinking to what's my best shot, and then I go from thinking to doing. And that's where visualization, practice swings can come into play. How do I want to execute that shot? I can see it. There it is right there. And then there's a part of the letting go, which is detachment. Okay, I got it. Yeah. All right, let's go. And that's all about focus. There might be some practice swings in there. There might be visualization there. Those are some elements that may help you go from gathering information, making a decision, and committing. Great. Okay. So back to decisions though. Okay. I think in this day and age, we're taught a lot about analytics, and it's A plus B always equals C.
Yeah.
And some players are going to be very much, Rick, it has to make sense up here. And I've had other players, let's say they're in between clubs, they go, you know what, my gut tells me it's a 3/4 8-iron. How do you make decisions on the course?
Usually it's probably more gut than anything else. Yeah. But I think, to what you just said there, I think when I think more with my gut, I think it's easier to do that, and makes me a little bit lazy.
Oh, interesting.
Around kind of like actually figuring out the type of shot that I need to play. Like going with your gut and going with your feels, I think overall is probably a nice kind of option to have. But when I get into that kind of position, that makes me lazy. It's kind of like, okay, well, I kind of feel that it's going to be that, so cool, let's go with it, rather than actually looking through all the numbers and really figuring it out. So I need to pull myself back from thinking on my gut too much and actually being a bit more cerebral about it and going through, what is the wind, what is the number, is there a slope, if I want to miss this, do I want to miss it long, do I want to miss it short, these kind of things. And when I get away from that, that's where I start to fall down a little bit.
Yeah, so decision making to me is fascinating because the ball's not moving. So, and I know we don't want to be the slow player in the group. That's not the point. But I don't think people are using the 20 to 30 seconds wisely. Okay. Yeah. And can they, and we've played enough golf in our life where a lot of it is subconscious, right? We can read the lie pretty quickly. We can feel the wind a little. We can see elevate. We don't necessarily have to have all the yardage books like a tour player does per se. But if you're skipping those things and then you're missing greens and going, I thought it was, that's a decision well before it was an execution issue.
Yeah.
And I would like for people to take that 3 or 4 extra seconds to know what is this shot first off, and then what is your solution. And why I talk about like head and gut is that sometimes people's egos get in the way of their decision. Right? Well, my buddy's hitting 9-iron, I better hit 9-iron. I'm gonna be made fun of if they know I'm hitting a little 7-iron.
Yeah.
It's the wrong shot. Your ego is now telling you and on that, right? Instead of what's the best shot for us to play. We certainly need to know risk reward. We need to manage our game. Yet there are players that they have to be more internal, like, you know what? I don't have my A game today. I'm going to take the extra club.
Yeah.
But some people don't want to admit that.
No.
And they're still making the same mistakes on that.
I think one of the things I saw which was really kind of hit home for me, did some film with Aaron Rye earlier this year. And his yardage book is one of the wildest things I've ever seen in my life. Like we're doing it effectively, what was just a short game challenge. So let's set up a few stations around a green from like 50 yards to like a few yards off. And we've got a chip. Now this chip is from me, like you want to be landing it from me to you, right? That's how short it was.
Wow.
And we're getting set, we're having a chat, and he pulls out his yardage book. And he opens up his yardage book. I'm kind of like, well, what's he doing? And on the inside of his yardage book, he's got every single carry from every conceivable length of swing with every club. Now we are talking from here to, he's got 60-degree wedge, like literally 7 o'clock to 5 o'clock or 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, whatever it was. And he was just, I need to look at this because what it does, it gives me the confidence and it allows me to make a decision a lot easier. Like it was completely baffling because that's the thing. Like if I'm over that shot, I'm like 60 inches, like get it, and then just try and get the feel. But he was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I know the shot. Then he goes into getting a little bit of a feel for it before he hits, and then he executes. And it was just like, that's baffling.
Right. So the preparation that goes into
unbelievable,
that is amazing. And I think not that every player needs to go to that length, but I want to kind of talk a little bit about confidence now, right? So that's helps him prepare no matter what pressure he's feeling. I need to do this to feel some certainty, to feel some confidence, right?
So it's like he knew
Correct.
that swing would produce that.
Yes.
So when you're over a ball, like that, the confidence that would give me and would obviously give him a great player, I want that.
Right.
And I saw that and I was like, this is crazy, but I'm kind of into it. I've had a few exes like that. It's often a downfall. But I'm like, this is the kind of stuff that is completely different. I've never thought like that before. And to be able to use that to be more confident, it was like, wow, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, so I mean, pressure, we want to use preparation. We want to use our routines certainly to do that. I think for some people, feeling pressure, they start to doubt their skills. So I look at confidence as, do you believe you have the skills to match the challenge in front of you? Now, you could perceive the challenge differently. You can perceive your skills differently. Like one day, yeah, I'm hitting it great. The next day, I can't play golf anymore. But you still know how to play golf, right? So when we talk about confidence, which is to me is a skill, what do you do that builds confidence?
Not a lot, really, to be honest.
But we know it's important.
Yeah. And it's one of the biggest weaknesses that I have.
Right.
Actually, confidence and trust.
Yes.
It's tough. I'm always questioning myself.
Okay, and so where does confidence come from?
In my mind, confidence comes from having done it before, being able to like recall when you've played good shots or like when you've done something good in a certain situation. I think it's just difficult. I think it's difficult to be able to do that and to trust it and to believe it, especially when I'm naturally quite my self-talk is usually erring on the negative side.
Sure.
Very pretty self-deprecating. So it's kind of hard for me to trust even what I'm saying if I'm trying to convince myself.
Right.
This is why inside my mind is such a dark and twisted place. Because I can try and be confident and I can try and trust myself, but there's also another voice in there that says, nah.
Yeah, you say, well, I'll talk to you later, right? You know, get that guy off you. They're
glued.
Yeah.
It's glued on.
We got some work to do. But back to you said about, have we done it before?
Yeah.
Right? So one of my favorite stories is a student of mine, Colin Morikawa, 2020 PGA Championship. He gets up to the 16th hole, final round, and he sees Paul Casey make a birdie to tie him.
Yeah.
So now 3 holes left, and you're tied for the lead in the PGA Championship. Most people would feel pressure, right? And what he did in that moment is he had to make a decision. 16th hole, they moved the tees up a little bit. The whole location, the wind was different, and he ended up hitting driver, and he had not done that in the previous 3 rounds. And so in that moment, he makes a decision. He then sees the shot, but what he says in interviews afterwards is he recalled past success. He recalled 2 shots he had hit the previous month at a different PGA Tour event to a drivable par 4, which he played really, really well. So the point of it is you do have memory up there because you've hit a great shot beyond with every single club in your bag, right? So how do you filter and choose that memory over what we don't want? That's a skill, correct?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. 100%.
So part of the learning is, I'm gonna get sidetracked a little bit. Do you celebrate great shots when you're playing golf?
It's honestly, you're like literally singing into my ears right now. So I've tried so hard this year I'm not exactly sure the correct terminology, but stuff I've read in the past, and I think I want to say it was Palmer, like he basically said how he prepares for a shot is to get his number, get his club, think about the best shot he's ever hit with that club.
Yes.
And then kind of execute.
Yes.
And what I've tried to do so much more this year is understand that if I hit a bad shot, because it's like memory, the memories that you recall and that are quickest to come to mind in anything, the things that you have that strong emotional attachment
100%.
to. And if you go around and you get really emotional over bad shots, the likelihood is you're going to remember those more. And then when you face that situation again, that's what you're going to recall.
Correct.
So I've tried so hard to, like, when I hit a bad shot, to be like, okay, it's fine, it's gone. And then try and move on and like not dwell on it. And then if I do hit a good shot, like I said, try and celebrate it a little bit more and try and be like, what a great shot. I'm going to remember that.
Yes.
I'm really going to remember that. What a great shot. Fantastic. And then just try and kind of take it in a little bit more.
Yes.
But again, it's hard. It's really hard because like when you hit a bad shot, your emotional response can be pretty quick.
Yes.
Oh, God, the club's flying through the air, the windmilling through. It's like, oh, no, I'm going to remember that.
You bring up a good point, and we'll talk about a post-shot routine in a moment, okay? Because we need to bring down the reaction. Yet confidence is about success. Don't get me wrong. Hit great shots, but feel great shots. Players at your level sometimes take them for granted. You hit a 5-iron from 210 to 5 feet, and you go, I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah.
No offense, you're not supposed to do that. That's elite of elite of elite.
Yeah.
Can you admit it's really good? In fact, what led to that was I had such a clear picture of that in the air, and I had a really good feeling. I did that smooth breath. I want you to anchor that through the process. What led to that so you can do it more often, right? So either people just dismiss it because you're a good player and you go, well, I'm supposed to do that. So you're not anchoring it, okay? Or we say, oh, it's about time I hit a good shot, and there's just nothing. But on the opposite end, we hit poor shots, we put a lot of emotion and frustration and anger to it. You will recall those shots really quickly. As you just mentioned, your memory is built on emotion and what you imprint on that. And so I want people, and it doesn't mean you have to do big fist pumps when you make birdie, but acknowledge, hey, that was really good. Man, that felt good. I had a clear visualization. Now you're anchoring that so you can recall it in the future, right? So yes, past success. Being able to, I have people write down the best shot they've hit with every club in their bag. When it happened, where it happened, what the weather was like, how it felt off the face, over and over again. And then they put it in their yardage book. I have a 5-iron. Oh yeah, that 5-iron hit 3 months ago, And it changes our focus, which now changes how we feel on that. So I think we've talked about prep for confidence. We now talk about past results. I talk a lot about visualization. We've talked about that too, is see success before it happens. If you're on a hole that doesn't match your eye, sometimes it's hard to even see it. There's some doubt, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
So using visualization as, this is what I got, boom, right? That helps trust, that helps confidence. So visualization, we talk about, we can talk through the shot. What's a good shot look like here? What's a good shot feel like here? And we're getting into that. The other key thing, and you're gonna like this one, self-talk. What am I saying to myself before I'm gonna hit a golf shot?
Yeah.
That's the last piece and sometimes the most important piece. I can recall great shots, I can do that, and then before I go, oh crap, I really don't like this shot.
Yeah.
All that's out there, right? And it doesn't mean we're having these affirmations like, I'm the greatest player of all time. But if you just had to answer, have I hit this shot well before? The answer is going to be yes, 100% of the time. But so that self-talk's important, is that we tend to be negative, we tend to be critical. Elite players are critical of themselves, don't get me wrong. But in that moment, it's not a time to be critical. It's a time to have belief. It's a time. And I know you have been positive. What are you saying to yourself when you're playing well and right before that shot? What are things that are going through your mind?
When I'm playing well, I'm a lot kinder to myself.
Yes.
Definitely. I think it's easier to accept when you're playing well. It's easier to accept the bad shots. I think because it's kind of like, it's okay. I'm okay. I've hit a bad shot, but that's okay. It's fine. I'm playing well. I think when not striking it well, that's when it's very hard to maintain that positivity. And that's when the negativity really does start to kind of creep in a lot more. I think when I'm playing my best, it's more like just kind of a self-affirmation, I suppose. It's like, you can hit that shot. And I think probably decision making is a lot easier with that as well.
Interesting.
I think the worse that I play, the more unlikely shots I'll try and take on, because I'm trying to overcorrect.
Interesting.
So I'm aware of what's happening more. I think a lot of people are a lot of people, when they're being very negative towards themselves, it's not secret, but it's your voice, isn't it? Like, you are being negative to yourself, so it's kind of hard to. It's both easy and hard to stop.
No, 100%. And I think part of it is like, I have some of my players, I ask them to caddy for somebody for just one round, okay? and notice how you would respond, right? So if you're caddying for me, I 3-putt from 8 feet on the first hole, and we're walking to the second green, what are you as the caddy telling me as the player?
Like if you're like cursing yourself and you're angry about that 3-putt going to the next, that's probably something you do, but when it's somebody else, you're like, this isn't going to help this person.
Right.
And then that's what you'd be talking about. You'd be like, that hole's gone, can't do anything about it. You have the ability to leave that in the past if you want to.
Yes.
So just move on to the next shot.
Right.
What is the next shot? Right. What is the yardage? All the rest
Correct.
of it. And it's amazing, like when you do caddy and when you're like coaching, how apparent it becomes.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Because we're removing ourselves. Obviously, we're not the ones hitting the shots. So we're removing ourselves. There's a little bit of detachment. There's a little bit different perspective, right? In perspective, we are less emotional. As a coach, I still want them to play well. Don't get me wrong, but there's less emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
But even if I did that, and some caddies would say, "Hey, we got 17 holes left," and yet, what happened on that first 8-footer? You hit it 4 feet by. Was that a misread? Was that you didn't get the speed down? Did you feel, to me, that's at least taking the information to learn from it.
Yeah.
But most people are just hypercritical. So when I talk about post-shot routine, it's let's learn from the shots that normally are going to like light the fuse of the dynamite. And instead of saying, you're horrible, Rick, I can't believe how bad you are. It's like, I wonder why that ball went left. I wonder why I missed it here. And I go mental first. Was somebody distracted, they have doubt, and they picked the wrong club? That could have happened, right? Or was it physical? Was it the swing? Dang, I got under it playing again, I flipped it, okay. Processing that in a more analytical way of curiosity is much different than critical. It's easy to hit bad shots, right? It's like, okay, now I've got that energy that's bubbling up here, probably stays with me maybe for the next decision. And now I take more risks on the next decision to make up for this, and now we have a spiral that's occurring.
Death loops.
So, you bet, right? So post-shot routine to me is crucial to manage emotions, but it also can help keep the confidence somewhat sturdy. Right? If confidence is only related on good shot, I feel good, bad shot, I'm down here, as we know, it's a roller coaster ride at best.
Yeah, I think certainly this season, it's been, I think the detachment is a good word. Like you're not being personally, like taking the personal out of it and just being like, it's okay. This is something which has happened to me rather than this is what am I trying to say? It's like something which has happened to me so I can choose how to react.
Definitely.
And also like I try very much to, if there's a bad situation gone on, I'm talking like almost in life here, but on the golf course, if there's something which has happened, all I want to do is I want to think about it long enough to learn from it, and then I can let it go.
Correct.
Because I can't go back and change it.
Correct.
Like not being able to travel back in time is a pretty key metric here.
It is, and on that, of how I coach post-shot routine is I do a lot of playing lessons, and let's say you hit a shot that I know you're going to react to. Like you miss a green with a wedge in your hand, and I know it bubble up, right? I immediately put another ball down and say, okay, Pete, what did we learn? What are we going to adjust? Now, you might want to still be mad that you missed the green, and I'm saying, what did you learn? Let's do it again. And that allows you to go, well, you know what? I was in between, and I could tell I was trying to hit a 3/4 wedge, and I should have hit the gap wedge instead. Great. Now you're at least learning from it, and I'm giving you an opportunity as quickly as possible to do that. Obviously, in a tournament setting, you don't get the mulligan down there, but could I reframe that and go, next time I'm in that situation, I need to do this instead? Because we have so much experience on the golf course if we want to learn from it. But unfortunately, we stamp it with the critical voice and I can't believe how bad you are today, Rick, and then good luck when I need that confidence later in the round, because that's how I beat myself up for it. Okay. And again, we're joking, but we're serious. I mean, golf is a very vulnerable game. It exposes us. It's like we don't want to, make mistakes in front of our mates and stuff like that, and it happens. And we have that, it's like that pull and that pressure gets in the way of us enjoying the game more. So my last question for you today is about enjoyment. Okay. Aren't we supposed to enjoy this game?
As far as I'm aware, I'm not entirely sure. It is a question that needs to be asked. I do think golfers, like all of us, we're kind of just sickos. I think.
Yeah.
I think we found our sport. You know what I mean? We just like the self-punishment. It's difficult, isn't it? Because like golf is a game. Like you play games to have fun. It's like literally the point. Yeah. To engage yourself. And I think it's so hard to not take things personal on the golf course because it's such an insular sport. Like you're in your own head all the way. So if things start to go wrong, it's really easy to get annoyed and to get pissed off and to be like, you know what, I just hate this.
I talk a lot about motivation. And motivation to me, as I define it as motive to take action, is why do you play golf, right? And everybody will have multiple reasons, hopefully, why they play, and that changes throughout the years. And I don't play as much as I used to. I don't play competitively anymore, but I used to play it, right? And it changes, right? So why do you play golf?
I think ultimately at the moment, I think it's a really good point. I wouldn't say at the moment it's just for enjoyment. I enjoy being out on the course. I enjoy being out in nature, and you know, I enjoy the game for what it is. I can appreciate it for what it is. But I say at the moment, certainly comp-wise, it's for the satisfaction of being able to play well. Yeah. And I'll drive enjoyment from that. Sure. So it's, you know, it is about the game. It's about golf, but it's kind of golf adjacent. It's more the fact I've done something really well. Right. And I've prepared for it. I've achieved my goals. And I've done something which I'm kind of proud of, and I can take satisfaction from that. Yeah. It just happens to be that golf is how I'm achieving that. Yeah. And I think certainly when I play with kind of mates and kind of play with my dad especially, he'll enjoy playing for playing, where I'm a lot more, I'm not quite there at the moment. Like you said, it's more competitive, it's more orientated around goals. So that's why I'm kind of playing at the moment.
And I think that's fine, right? Yeah. I think it's important to have multiple layers to it, is that golf is this ultimate competition against ourselves too, right? So we're competing and we want to get some joy out of hitting great shots and scoring well. I totally agree with that. I think also understanding about being in beautiful nature. And I mean, we've been fortunate to be on some of the greatest golf courses in the world and just going, wow, look at this, how lucky I am, right? Yeah. We get to play with friends, the social side of it. We get to play with, you know, family members, right? So there's a social component to that. There's certainly an exercise component, recreation for people. There is that goal setting all the time of, I want to accomplish something, and golf is always one step ahead of you. You can always, so I like I like the achievement oriented part of it. I just think balancing it out so it's not just always in one of those buckets. Because if that's not there, you're right. We want to throw the clubs in the lake, type of a thing. So I think for everyone, it's understanding, why are you playing golf? I mean, it's just an unbelievable game. We've been very fortunate what it's done for our careers too. But why did we play in the first place? It might be different than why we're at here. And to remember when we were a little kid and hitting shots, and wasn't about competition, it was about goofing off, and it was about with our buddies, right? I think we need to get that spirit back and that playful energy back as like a child sometimes, because I think we learn better, but we're not beating ourselves up as much. So
exactly. I think just generally, like, it's so easy to lose that, isn't it? It's so easy to just get so focused in what you're like trying to do that you do forget. Like ultimately, you wouldn't have continued to play the game if you didn't enjoy it.
Exactly.
So then trying to get that back.
So let's enjoy it.
Well, that was just a lovely root-tooting, wonderful conversation.
And it was also very well set up.
The actual setup, unreal.
That's a shame.
The guys at GMS were a kind of an agency who look after golf ride. They were setting up all these cameras, and it was overkill. Yeah, it was like
there's a few angles,
FX3 and
from every side,
5, absolute heaven.
Yeah,
like it was unbelievable, and I was like, wow, this is impressive.
Yeah. Did you feel pressure to have some salient points?
No,
because of the camera setup.
Not really. I'm comfortable enough now knowing that, you know, I'm fine talking rubbish. Yeah, it's fine. But no, it was a great setup. It was a great look. Yeah, we did look great. Up our game, but we can't up it that much.
Well, we can if more
unless Unless the 10,000 people listening to this right now want to become a member of the YouTube channel, then that'd be great. We could do that.
Thank you. That would be wonderful. So yeah, the last couple of things he spoke about were really interesting. One of which was him reminding you that in the moments where you're feeling stressed or maybe the game's not going the way that it's supposed to, that it is still fun, and that when you first picked up a golf club and the ball did the thing that you wanted it to do, there's that feeling in your soul that goes, wow, this is cool, I want to keep doing this. Is that something that you ever think about, that it is actually really fun to play golf?
Yeah, I mean, you've always got to bear in mind that it is a game, and any game that you play in life, if you're not enjoying it, then there's probably not a lot of point in carrying on. Like, you shouldn't just play a game because other people are playing it, or in the hope that one day it might turn around for you. Like, golf is supposed to be a game where you derive enjoyment. And even though at times it's not like that, because it is a very frustrating sport, we all know that. Anyone who's played golf for any period of time will have moments where they absolutely hate golf. But ultimately, people come back because it is a game, and deep down, very deep down at times, it is still fun.
And the video where you played against Luke Kwan recently, it actually comes up in conversation, you saying, he was talking about he's taken up the drums, and you were saying, I kind of feel like I need another hobby, a thing to do when I'm not playing golf. But then he made a good point, which is that if you still enjoy golf, then this still also can be your hobby. Like, you don't need to find something else. You feel like you still are enjoying playing golf?
Yeah, but I don't really play that much at the moment without kind of filming or without it being in a comp. So it is still a hobby, and it's great. It's amazing, really, the fact that we get to kind of make a job out of it. But yeah, it's not something that I would say I'm doing for fun at the moment. I still enjoy playing, and I still have fun playing golf, but it's a lot more than a hobby for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess there's always a pressure point on whenever you play, because whether if it's in a comp, obviously pressure involved in that, but like filming a course vlog and flying all the way to Pebble, and you get one chance at it to go and film a good video. Like, you've got to play good golf.
Yeah.
There's sort of,
Or terrible.
well, one or the other. Hey, you just pick one and we'll go with you. But
One of the two. Yeah, no, it's just more, like, we've been planning out the diary a little bit kind of this week and trying to figure out, what we're going to be doing the next few months. And, essentially, like, going through a diary, going through a schedule, it's hard to say, right, okay, so this day, sorry, I can't do that. I'm gonna go play and have fun.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember, when was the last time you played? You played with your dad a little bit last day, kind of like end of last year, tiny bit for fun. I mean, the way that your brain works, you'll still be analyzing and thinking about the game and not necessarily playing for fun. But like, when was the last time you went out and had very low pressure?
Can't remember. Literally can't remember.
I don't know. When was the last time we played together?
But
Well, he knows he's going to win, so he doesn't have to worry.
Also, the way that we tend to kind of plan our year around golf as well is this time of year when we're traveling a lot, like we're traveling to Phil, and there ain't 100 white horses with ropes around my legs that could drag me onto a golf course with the weather like this outside.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah. It's not great.
Golf is meant to be fun, and I ain't having fun.
Yeah.
It was snowing before, by the way.
Great. Even better.
Excellent news. Yeah, my dad has been doing a lot of My dad lives down in London. He's been doing a lot of complaining about his golf course being shut, and
fine.
The course. And then they do that thing where they don't shut the course, and they're like, yeah, go out and play if you want, but it's carry only, and it's all temporaries,
temporary greens, temporary tees.
My dad's golf club put a coding system in now. So I said code green is just like you go and you can play and it's all open, it's all fine.
Yeah.
And then code black is I'm pretty sure code black Is it code red?
Potential of death.
It's like code black or code red means like the course is like closed, but ultimately that only happens on extreme circumstances. They like do this whole coding system, so it's like I don't know, code brown. I don't know, it's just really muddy. So be aware. And like each code has like, you can carry, but you can't have your trolley, or you can have your trolley, and stuff like that. It's very complex. But anyway,
it's very complicated for the
it's
members.
It's code black today.
But it's even if you went out, like you can't. It's very hard to enjoy yourself when it's not comfortable and it's not like
golf's fun, Mick.
Golf is fun.
Doesn't sound like you find that fun though.
No, I
rewatch the podcast. Or re-listen to it.
You're quite right. Okay, so let's talk about the other really interesting thing that you discussed, which was him telling you that they try very hard not to have a lot of technical thoughts when he was referencing your game and also referencing Colin Morikawa's game. They try very hard not to have a lot of technical thoughts on the golf course, which completely makes sense. But because you should be out there playing the game, not thinking about your swing, which, is a regular thing that people say, play golf, not golf swing. Makes sense. But you said something really interesting, which was I listened to it and it was very good. If you start to think technically about the game and you hit a really good shot, then you go, oh, that technical thing I was thinking about must be why I've hit that really good shot. Mm-hmm. And then you maybe don't hit a good shot. And then you're thinking, okay, well, that technical thing wasn't the thing that made me hit a good shot. So I'll implement this other technical thing. And then you hit a good shot. And the entire time you're like compounding the overthinking on the golf course, which you get to 18 fairway and you're like, forgot to enjoy this.
Yeah.
Everyone does it. Everybody does it. It's very hard to go out on a golf course and not have a technical swing.
100%. Yeah.
And for some people, it's impossible. It's actually impossible just to go out and play the game.
I don't think I've ever gone out and just played the game.
Yeah, it's because the thing is with golf, you have to allow there to be a lack of control. But it's a closed skill, and a lack of control in golf, certainly within your mind, can mean slices into the woods and hooks into the water. So you end up trying to control as much as you physically can, when the best performers in any sport will go out and play free from technical thought, or certainly have only a technical thought that doesn't impinge on the freedom of the technique. So the very best way to play golf, and this isn't a new fandangled idea, but it's that you practice hard enough on your technique that when you get out onto the golf course, it's more of an automatic system. So you don't have to think about it, and that you can trust it. But it's a very hard thing to do. And, when Rick's talking about flow code and being in the moment and having a flow state mentality, it's being able to go out and play without technical thoughts.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It is really hard to do.
Yeah. I definitely, even as a mid-handicap golfer, can definitely relate to moments where something in the swing that day has just felt right, and I kind of had the thought at the start of the day on hole 1, 2, and 3, but then it kind of works, and then you sort of lose it and you trust it, and then especially with the driver for me, if it gets to a point where I'm like, right, just do that again, and I'm not thinking about make sure your hands do this or your arms do that, and whatever it might be. I guess it's always the points when it goes wrong is the hard part, because you can go step onto a course and not have any technical thought, and then you hit, like you say, you hit that one bad shot, and then you're trying to recalibrate and rework out what went wrong, what do I need to do, was I actually doing that thing?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I've always struggled with as well is that you kind of go through a transition of doing something different or whatever it might be, and then you kind of reinforce it, and you continually doing so, you almost go the other way of going too far, if that makes sense. Anyway, but yeah, it's just such a hard thing to navigate on the golf course, of not thinking about one specific, just hit the ball.
Yeah, but then if you think back to the best rounds, or the best feeling rounds you've ever had, I was there when you shot the best round you've ever shot.
Yeah.
And you weren't
120.
120.
Theoretically, I have shot better than that one, but I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, so I was there for that I think you shot 73 or 72 or something. Yeah, and we went out after work and the sun was going down and everyone was having a great time. And you weren't, I don't think, thinking very hard about the things that was happening.
No.
But then we got to 18 and you chipped onto the green and you were like, oh my God, if I hold this putt, I will shoot my best score ever.
Yeah.
And you missed the putt.
Of course.
And then you tapped it in and you still shot your best score ever. So that was great. Yeah. But I think the one I want to ask you about is about regional qualifying, because you went out there having prepared really well for it. And then everything was completely different. So how do you get your brain out of the mode, you've done all the prep and then the prep goes out the window. How do you then get yourself back into a space where you're like, I've just come here to play the next shot and to play golf and not think, how do I do that?
Yeah. So open qualifying was, best way of describing it, open qualifying was easier to do that on the day that I played because the wind was so strong. So when the wind was as strong as it was, it was unbelievably windy that day. There's so many really good players who didn't break 80, never mind 70, and kind of got onto the first tee, and it was like, well, a lot of the plans that I've had have out the window now. I'm going to have to change clubs and hit different shots, but also it was when the wind was off my left hand side, I'd draw it into the wind. When the wind was off my right-hand side, I'd cut it into the wind. And for me to play a draw and a cut, I don't really think about that too technically. I change the way that I aim. I change my club face alignment. I might change my grip, but I'll just hit draws and I'll hit hooks. And I'll try and feel it into the wind. So the tougher the conditions, the less I would be prone to think about my technique. And that helps.
And you think that's because you're focusing more on the shot you need to hit and not how you need to hit that shot.
I'm not asked about P4 positioning when it's 40 mile an hour.
Yeah, you're just like, I need to get the ball between that and that.
I just got to find this bit on the course, yeah. And also it was just the fact that I'd put in a decent amount of practice before the round, and I just was able to, I was striking it pretty well, so I was able to trust myself. But the thing is, it's the hard, in some respects, I think people listening to this or people watching this will be able to go out on the golf course and just swing and play. The hardest thing to do is to be going out, see your shots, kind of pick your numbers, pick your clubs, hit the shot. The hardest thing is when it goes wrong is not to start thinking, I know what I did there. It was my right arm position, so I'll just practice. And then all of a sudden, like you said, it's one thing after another. And by 9 holes, you've got 12 swing thoughts. So it's a very easy thing to do, to try and latch onto swing thoughts and feelings to try and establish a sense of control, when that control is an illusion, it's a myth. And it's one of the worst things I had when I was giving lessons. And someone will come in for a lesson after a couple of weeks. It's like, have you had time to practice? I say, no, not really. I've played a couple of times, and I've not played very well. It's like, well, it's probably because you've taken what we've done on a lesson, which is a technical change. You've taken it to the golf course, not practiced it, and introducing something new, especially if it's a big change, it's just going to cause absolute carnage. So it's very easy then to say, wow, this is not working, and then almost giving up on it, and then being stuck in this weird halfway house between a new swing and an old swing. And the ability to get a lesson is great, but you have to have the ability to practice in between, and then understand that the whole point of the practice is so when you get onto the golf course, you just go play, rather than taking your practice out there. But it's an easy thing to do. Sorry.
Yeah. I think that's a good point to finish on.
Appreciate that.
Well done, Peter Finch.
It's one of my best.
Very poignant.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Poignancy levels high. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us for the 165th episode of the Rough Cut Golf Podcast. Thanks to Rick Sessinghaus and to the guys at Golf Pride for hooking that up for us. It's one of those, when I was watching it, it's one of those ones that you kind of have to go back and watch again because there's so much in there.
Oh yeah, this is a very much a video and a podcast you can save.
Yeah, so it's going to be a dip back in job, I reckon, on that one.
Honestly, it's almost like if you wanted to watch or kind of listen to the main bit of that podcast with Rick, once a month's a bit steep, but once every few months, like just to remind yourself, like
Just to
what
get
you
our
should be
views
doing.
up.
It's,
Oh, right,
that'd be great. But no, it'd do you a lot of good. That'd be a great way just to kind of reset and remind yourself what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'm going to go and do that now. I'm going to go watch it again.
Great.
And we will see you all next week. Thanks again to the members, you Fescue Club, and all the rest of you. Things that are coming up on the members platform that you could have access to. Something which is coming out on the main channel, which is going to be 1 hour long, is going to come out on the members platform, and it's going to be 3 hours long. So if you want the in-depth, really geeky version of a video coming out on the main channel, make sure you're a Fescue Club member. And if you like Luke Kwan and Peter Finch talking to each other in a golf buggy, also become a member, because I've got the uncut edit of the Luke Kwan match with it's just all of the cart cams back to back to back, which is hilarious. So go and do that, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. See you in a bit.
Bye, everyone.